How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. And yes, I have finally sorted out the whole super white background. I've managed to find a contrast plugin filter to actually make it more pleasing on the eyes. So I do hope you appreciate it, because I absolutely do. So here we go. So I saw this article this morning and I just wanted to quickly talk about it, not really make a long video about it, just because I'm seeing a lot of people talking about this at the moment, and it kind of just, got me thinking. And people are blaming Microsoft for this and saying that this is all Microsoft's fault, and I guess if they weren't trying to buy Activision, this wouldn't actually be a thing. But the byline actually reads, Sony won't share PS6 info with Activision if Microsoft deal goes through. Sony's Jim Ryan made these comments to the US Federal Trade Commission in April. Now, this is quite a big statement from Jim Ryan, especially considering he's the one that is complaining that Microsoft, if they buy Activision, will withhold Call of Duty and other games from the PlayStation platform. Even though now he's actually found to have officially been okay with it, despite having spoken to Phil Spencer, Satya Nadella, and the CEO group president of Sony having spoken and been happy with all the things, they have been totally okay with it. He then came out and made statements that he wasn't happy with it and that he doesn't care about the Call of Duty franchise. All he cares about is blocking the deal. These are his words. He really should learn to keep his mouth shut. But one of his biggest fears was that the game is not going to come to PlayStation platforms, and that it would cause irreparable harm to Sony, and that Sony and Microsoft would do this. But here we go here. Sony won't share PS6 information if Activision Microsoft deal goes through. So now he's basically doing what he was fearing is going to happen, but he's doing it himself. So let's just read the article. Should Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard go through, Sony says it will withhold information pertaining to its next console from the Call of Duty of publisher. This next console, presumably the PS6, which I'll be buying day one, by the way, as well as the PS5 Pro if it ever does come out, won't be available for some time. I just want to make that clear, because I don't have any bias to Sony or Microsoft. I love both of their hardwares, and I'm a gamer at heart. But at the end of the day, I just don't believe the FTC is correct in what they're doing. If they were correct, I would actually say fine. But I don't feel that the FTC has any legal ground to block this, and they're only blocking it to spite big tech. But Sony is already thinking about future hardware plans, as they should be, as is Microsoft. This comes by way of a deposition regarding Microsoft's potential acquisition of Activision Blizzard King, in which Sony Interactive Entertainment President Jim Ryan made this comment to US Federal Trade Commission, the FTC. An excerpt of the deposition, which was obtained by Axios, is from April 6 and includes comments from Ryan expressing his concerns over the potential acquisition. In an FTC versus Microsoft ABK deposition, PlayStation chief Jim Ryan said that if the deal closes, Sony couldn't tell Activision what its next console is. Its tech and stuff like that. Is then asked about Sony working with Mojang Minecraft after Microsoft bought them. Discussion is redacted, but Ryan says it supports this concern. So they're okay with Minecraft coming to the console day one. They're okay with everything else coming day one. So for these games, they had to have provided dev kits for them to do it. As we know with the PS5, they did not provide the dev kit, and that is why there is no PS5 version of the game specifically. But is that a Microsoft problem, or is that a Sony problem? In my opinion, that is a Sony problem. If you want your game on the platform, you need to provide the dev kit. If you're unwilling to do this, then there will be delays in getting the product to you. That is just simple logic, right? And as we can see here, let's see, can we actually get this up? So if we look at it over here, we do come to this section over here. Do you believe that the collaboration with Activision has led to better features on PlayStation's Gen 5 consoles? I believe to be the case. If you look at the next statement of this very long sentence on the page, that reads, this partnership would be lost. And it goes on to the next page. It continues, once Microsoft acquired Activision, Sony Interactive Entertainment could no longer share confidential details about its next console in development. Do you see that language? I do, said Jim Ryan. Why could Sony Interactive Entertainment no longer share confidential details about its console and development once Microsoft acquired Activision? We simply could not run the risk of a company that was owned by a direct competitor having access to that information. What would be the risk of your direct competitor having access to that information? And that part there is redacted. Now, obviously, we know that they did provide some stuff because Minecraft is on Xbox. As an independent company, Activision is motivated to make great games on all platforms. Is that what they do? That's what they do, said Jim Ryan. And then the next statement reads, blah, 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 it's all redacted. Do you see that language? I do, said Jim Ryan. Who is Mojang? Mojang is a developer. Mojang is the developer of Minecraft. Is Minecraft a game? Yes, sorry, Minecraft is a game. Did Microsoft acquire Mojang around 2014? I believe it was around about that time, yes. Was Minecraft simply already available on PlayStation consoles when Minecraft acquired Mojang? Yes, it was. When Microsoft acquired Mojang, DDDDD is redacted. If you look at the next sentence, it reads, DC language, I do. Why is that? Now, my assumption here is that they did provide the dev kits and the information needed to Mojang, and it wasn't a problem then. So why is it a problem now? Does that go back to your concern about your direct competitor having access to your information about consoles in development? It does. How sensitive is the information about features in development for PlayStation consoles? Immensely sensitive. What is a game development kit? And it just goes on. So that's basically what they're saying there. That was Jim Ryan's deposition on April 6, 2023. When asked why Sony Interactive Entertainment would no longer share confidential details about its next console and development once Microsoft acquired Activision, Ryan said, "We simply could not run the risk of the company that was owned by a direct competitor having access to that information." Further in the deposition, Ryan asked about Minecraft's acquisition of Mojang, the developer of Minecraft. Much of this portion of the deposition is redacted, so it's not totally clear, but it seems like Ryan points to working with Microsoft-owned Mojang as a similar concern should Activision be acquired as well. But he has worked with Mojang in the past, so why is it a problem now? In April, Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard was blocked by the UK for unknown reasons. Well, for cloud-based, because the harm to console was thrown out the window, so they had to find something, making it unclear if the deal would go through. In May, it revealed that 37 countries have approved the deal, and earlier this month, a federal court issued a restraining order that has halted the deal, at least temporarily, which is part of Microsoft's game. Now, the question now arises, and I think it's going to be one that's going to play relevant in the FTC trial case. Is this a reason to block the deal? And in my opinion, it is not. Because at the end of the day, Sony can provide even a limited version of the dev kit to Microsoft. I'm not going to go into the technicalities here because I don't know. But they can do something. They can work with something. They can create an independent part of, the FTC as a remedy can ask Microsoft to create a certain, a department within Activision that works on Sony games that is exclusive to that area, that kind of, the dev kits that go there is not going to go to that information will not leak out to Microsoft. At the end of the day, there can be remedies that can go about it. It's obviously going to be difficult to police, but this is a difficult situation for Sony, I'm not going to lie, but at the end of the day, it's a situation of their own making. If they want the games day and date on the PlayStation platform, then they kind of have to provide that information. Now, the alternative to this is that the whole world loses out because Sony won't provide that dev kit, and then Call of Duty basically comes out a year or two after the consoles have launched. At that point, the dev kits will be freely available to everyone, and then they can start building the game from scratch once the hardware is available. That to me is the most logical situation. I think that's how it's going to play out. So instead of it being a 1-year cycle for games after 2024, I think the cycle is going to go to maybe 2 years or maybe even 3 years per release, giving the companies enough time to release their platform so it can actually, get the dev kits out to the opposing factions. Don't get me wrong, this whole situation with companies buying franchises and publishers is getting silly. I mean, the situation right now is going to be the exact reverse when the new Xbox XX or X2 or whatever you want to call it comes out, and they have to provide their dev kits to Bungie, who is owned by Sony, to make their Destiny free, if it's actually even going to be on Xbox, or the new content that's going to come to Destiny 2. So is the same situation not going to be there? But at that point, Sony won't give a crap about that one, and they will turn around and say exactly the same thing that Microsoft's going to say, and that is, it is up to them. If they want to have their game day and date on the platform, they have to share that information. The same works both ways. I'm not saying Destiny is as big as Call of Duty. For all I know, it may well be. I don't have the numbers offhand, and quite honestly, I don't really care. Both of the games are pretty bad. But in the end, they're both in the same boat. And as they continue to buy publishers, this isn't going to be a problem that goes away. There is no real resolution for this problem. In the end, they're just going to be two separate consoles with their publishers, and they're going to have all their games exclusive to each other. I mean, that's going to be the only way really forward in the end. But I'm hoping it doesn't come to that, because as a gamer, I want everyone to be able to experience great games. I still feel that there is a place in the gaming market for exclusives. I will never take that away, because when a game is exclusive, it generally tries to make the best out of the hardware it's on. And when you see games like The Last of Us, Uncharted, the old Halos where they actually put effort into it, Gears of War, when you see these games that are tailor-made for the platforms, they are truly special games. And then you've got the multiplats, which try to take everything into consideration, and you don't really get that custom feel. Like when I played Returnal for the first time and the controller started speaking to me, I was blown away, right? I'm talking about that level of detail. And you can get that from both the Xbox and PlayStation when it comes to exclusives. When it's multiplat, you lose that personalization. So this is why I say exclusives, though people see them as bad, I think they're a necessity to further AAA games. But with the way things are going with publishers at the moment, it ain't looking good. But getting back to the topic of this, Sony won't share PlayStation 6 information with Activision if Microsoft deal goes through. I think that's more of a Sony problem than a Microsoft problem. And if it's their choice to do that, then it is their choice to do that. And I genuinely don't feel that this will be something the FTC can rely on, because it is something that the Sony Corporation, Sony Interactive Entertainment, is choosing to do of their own free will. They do have a choice. They could try to set up remedies, restrictions, put things in place to prevent certain details from escaping. They can do this, and they can get Microsoft to agree to those. But in the end, that requires a discussion, which I don't believe they're prepared to do. So we'll see what's going to happen. But I know this is a big talking point at the moment on Twitter. But that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.